allá vamos en el camino, en busca de libertad. Unos andamos primero, otros se quedan atrás. I guess when I hear the term maker, which is not very common, in the past, but now I see that it's surfacing. I see that as someone that builds things. Like, let's say, iron worker, he's making something, whether it's art, an art form. When I see a santero doing his sayings or whatever, that's a maker to me. It's making something, a craft or something, using his hands, his creative mind or whatever. Like me, I'm a maker of guitars, even though they're mostly for young children, but still I'm providing that, and I'm making this using the skills, developing the skills in this. My name is Cipriano Vigil, and my family background comes from my mother's side, from Spaniards, Dominguez from Spain, and from my father's side, it's a mixture of indigenous and Mexican. How I came about to start doing what I'm doing now with the cigar box guitars is that my father used to build violins back in the 50s, and he left behind a box. And then when he passed away, I got that box. And then one day I thought maybe I could do something with it. So I went and I bought some materials and I built myself a little cigar box guitar with nylon strings. And it sounded really nice, but not too loud because of the nylon strings. But I got that idea, and I thought maybe this idea would work with the schools. Since I've been doing that, I've probably done like maybe 2,500 guitars with the kids in the schools. I ended up going back to Highlands and got my degree in music, a BA degree in music education. Then I got a master's in bilingual education with emphasis in fine arts. And then from there I went to Mexico and I got another master's degree in ethnomusicology. And then from there I went on and got my doctorate degree in ethnomusicology. 12 years straight in nothing but studies. I've learned almost all the different styles of music, even flamenco, classical, what we call the Spanish colonial styles of music. But my first love is the styles of New Mexico, and then my own compositions. Now, the guitars are built like a regular guitar in a sense, except that it's only a 4-string. And the reason for the 4 strings is it's a lot easier to learn to play and easy to build chords, even play melodies. And it represents the first 4 strings of a guitar, the bottom strings of the guitar, the D, the G, the B, and the E. And then the amplifier, the purpose for this is just to make it a little bit louder as you play, because they're not very loud due to the box, due to the size of the box. And it takes a while to build one of these. It takes at least 6 to 8 hours to build it. You have to do the cutting of where the tuners are going to be. You have to notch the wood. The wood goes all the way through, but you have to notch it where the cover's going to be. And then you have to put in the frets. And each fret I have to cut by hand, and it has to be measured perfect. Otherwise it won't work and it won't tune. And then I had to get the fret wire, and I have to tap it in there perfect as well, and so that you won't dent it, because you'll mess it up. So it takes a lot of time just to do that part. After that, then put in the tuners, put in the tailpiece. I use curtain grommets for the sound covers, bolts for the bridges, horn, pieces of horn, deer horn for the nuts, or whatever I can that I find. put it together, and they sound really cool, really neat instruments. At one time there were so few artists, but now New Mexico is attracting artists from all over the world. There are artists that are settling here in their different medias, and this has given the incentive to people to learn more, and so the art forms are growing, and musicians, flamenco, classical, jazz, blues, everything is popping out. Where before I was the traditional folk music, and or the painters. We had painters, but now we have all kinds of different medias in painting, and so I see this as something that has blown up in a good way, because there's more to be offered right there for the growing artists, for the coming artists that are starting up now,